Hey, it's me, Mega, and I'm here to dive you through creating Google Forms for conducting online quiz. So, with this COVID pandemic, we have dug our hands pretty much deep into a lot of online education resources, creating online material and stuff like that. So, here we would see how to create a quiz on Google Forms and how to make sure that our students answer it. So, first and foremost, let's see how you launch a blank form, that is a blank Google form. All you have to do is step 1, log into your Gmail account and then click on the dots that you see here on the right hand side corner. To launch a new or blank Google form, you will have to go to your Gmail account by saying www.gmail.com. Once you do this, your Gmail account opens and you see these dots that are here. You click on them, so you are seeing the different Google apps. Click on the drive. Once you click on the drive, you would have to click on this plus sign. When you click on this plus sign, you get a variety of options here. So here you come and click on more, and then once you click on there, you hover towards your right hand side and you can click on this Google form. Once you click on Google form, you will get a blank untitled form of this kind. So right now the form does not have anything on it. So I call this form, now since I am dealing with computer programming test, I will name it as computer programming, and because I'm designing it for IT2, I will say IT2. Now it's asking for form description. So since it's asking for form description over here, I will need to put something. Even if you keep it empty, it's not a problem. So here in this form description, I will put something related to my test. So I say second internal test dated 3/6/2020, max hours 2 hours, max marks 25. Every time you design a bit of the form, you want to see how it looks, you can click on this eye, that is your preview option. So click on it and you will see exactly what your form looks like. Your form looks this way, just a start. Now we can close it and make it look even more better. When we design our IT papers or we create our IT papers always have a header. So what we can do is we can go here to this customize themes option, click on it and play around with the themes. I here say choose image, and there are a variety of images that you can give as your header. Now suppose it is something to do with a chemistry experiment or a chemistry Google form, something related to chemistry. I'll choose this kind and say insert. Now you want to see what happens when I say insert. This is going to be the header. So if you see here by clicking on the preview, this is the look the form has taken. But however, I wouldn't want this and I would want to give it a different look. So I go back here and I say upload. I have my image on the desktop, so I say I have it over here saved on the desktop. It's named as header. I say open. It takes a little while. You have to be connected to the internet to design this form, and then I say done. Once I say done, you will see what it pulls up. It's not this was a previous one. It pulls up this Goa College of Engineering affiliated to Goa University, and since I am designing with respect to information technology department, I have the vision of the department as well put up over here. So now if you go to see how this form looks, it will look this particular way. However, this is a shade of grey which it has pulled up because the header had something like that of grey, shades of grey. I don't like this look of it, so I go close this I go back here, and this theme color that I see, I play around with this. I click on add and I choose something close to blue and I say add. So it's given me variety of options, so I just play around with the colors here. So you can also go and choose different colors and play around with the options. So I think I stick to blue, and yes, this is how it looks now. However, our main focus needs to be on the content of the Google form. So I keep this as my header and I go ahead designing the content of my Google form. Now every time I send this form out to a student, I should be able to get in some details of the student. For example, his first name, his last name, and the roll number should be some parameters that I need to pull up from the student. So over here you see untitled question. I click on that. It's not a multiple choice. I click here, and when I'm trying to secure the name or get the name from the student, that will be a short answer. I ask him to give me his first name, so I put it over here. It's a short answer. Now over here you'll notice me doing something. A student, I want him to mandatorily enter his first name. He should be entering the first name as all matters of compulsion. So I need it. So therefore I will choose this as required. So what happens when you make this required is the student cannot submit the form without entering his first name. So now let's see what the form looks like. It looks like this. So this is a compulsory answer he needs to put in. So he will put in his answer over here, whatever it is, and then click on submit. So if he doesn't enter something out here, this will say this is a required question. Now this is happening only because you chose required. So this is what it looks like when you put first name. I'll close this. So I'm trying to close this. I'll say leave. Okay, so the first name is done. So similarly that way I'm going to click on this. This helps me add a new question. I click on this, it adds a new question, and here I'm going to say last name. Sorry about that. It says the last name. I have it here. I'll just pull it up from here. Last name and put it here. Now again, last name is a short answer question. Alright, and I need to make this required because I don't want him to proceed without entering his last name. So now if I check, this is how it looks. So you need to enter the last name, and the last thing that I would try to pull up from the student will be his roll number. So I'll add another question and make it roll number. Again, this is a required question, so I'll make sure that now over here don't focus on all this at the moment. This is validations, that means it has to be a number, he can't put alphabets and stuff like that. But if in the instructions over here you may give out instructions like kindly put all your details, otherwise your marks will not be entered, and stuff like that. So he has to carefully enter all these details. So now if we check, the form looks something like this. The header, computer programming IT2, first name, last name and roll number. Now we have to populate the questions of our paper. To populate the questions, let's see how to populate a multiple choice question first. So I click on this, and now I'm trying to add a multiple choice question. Now if you notice, the question has come here and then the first name, last name. I can move this by just shifting it around like that. I just clicked on it and then this thing came and I just dragged it down. Now here is my question. Now this I want to set it as a multiple choice question. Now since I want to set it as a multiple choice question, my question is, for example, who is the father of C programming? That's my question. So I say option A, and when you say option A, the suggestions come add all B, C, D. So I say add all B, C, D. So here to option A, I give my first answer as Mr. X. Then I give my second option as Mr. Y, and I give my third option as Mr. A, and I give my last option as Mr. Z. Now here with multiple choice, one good thing that you can do is you can assign the right answer and the weightage to the question. And here I will first click on required. So once I have designed this particular question, I need to give how many marks it's going to hold. So I come here in settings and click on this quizzes. I click on this and make this a quiz. Now here we have an option which says locked mode on Chromebooks. Now this option, if we check this on, first of all, to have this option enabled, we have to have a G Suite account, and checking on this option or checking mark this option enables us to keep a check on students. It doesn't allow the students to cheat a lot. For example, he cannot open other tabs on his browser, and he can't take screenshot of my screen. So if he cannot take screenshots of my screen, he can't post it on his groups and ask for answers. So this is the whole idea about this locked mode. Now this is release grade. Immediately after each submission, I don't want to release the grade immediately after each submission, because we have a stipulated period of time told to us that release the grades on a certain day. Anyway, which I want to release the grades after everyone has submitted. So I will say later after manual review. Now this you can release if all are MCQs. What if somewhere descriptive? Then you will have to click on later after manual review. Now here the respondent, that is the student who is taking the answer, can see which questions he missed, what are the correct answers, and the point values. That means how much marks he's got. If you don't want, you can check them off, and then I'm saying save. Now because you turn this on as a quiz, what happens is you get an option enabled here, answer key. Click on answer key, and whatever is the right answer, click on that and assign your points. Suppose this is your 1 mark, give 1 mark, 2 marks, 2 marks, and then say done. Now you see the preview. This is your multiple choice question. You have to select whichever is the right answer, and you tell the student that it is a 2 mark weightage problem. So this is how it is going to look. Now if you are going to design a purely MCQ based question paper, then in that case what I would suggest is you prepare a template and keep of this sort. Prepare one template, that is one question of this sort, and assign the required to it, assign the grading to it. Alright, and then just click on duplicate. So if you want it repeating 5 times, say 1, 2, 3, 4. So you will have the question once, the question 2 times, the question 3 times, the question 4 times, the question 5 times. All you have to do is go and change the question. This is my next question, and you have your options here. All you have to go and do is give the options. If you don't do this and don't duplicate, every time you'll have to click on add question and choose it as an MCQ, add the options. It's not that it's not possible, it's going to be a little more time consuming. So this is the way you do a MCQ. Now what if you wanted to add a short answer question? Suppose you wanted to enter a short answer question. Here you fire your question. Describe the process of addition in the ALU. I'll go about that again. Describe the process of addition in an ALU. Now this is going to be a long answer question, or maybe like more than one line. So you could either have it as a short answer or you could have it as a paragraph. Then similarly you can give it some points, say 8 points, and in this answer feedback you can give some points which suggest the right answer. So basically here you're only going to give maybe links or videos to the feedback answers, or some points which will help the students know what was the right answer, like your digest kind of answers, and say save. So that way you're adding a short answer or a paragraph question. Now once that's done, suppose say that you only want to send your question paper and want to collect the answers from the students as a file upload. You have an option here which helps you upload a file. Now I will click on this, and over here there is an option which says file upload. I'll click on this file upload. The file upload gives you an alert, let respondents upload files to drive. Now mind you, all the files that they upload will come into your drive. Okay, so you have to make sure that sometimes when you create this Google Forms and all, you do it from a separate account. So it gives you this, and then you'll click on continue. Once you click on continue, you'll fire a question at them, what you want them to do. So I'll say solve the questions and upload the scanned copy. Okay, now here it gives you options. Allow only specific file types. I will say yes. I will say allow only PDF. You can choose any of these. Then maximum number of files, I want only one. Maximum file size, say 10 MB. It will allow you to choose the different. It goes up to 10 GB. It allows you to choose up to 10 GB. Now answer key, you can give say 2. You don't want to do this, then you can directly go and say 20 and say done. Then say how it looks. This is how it will look. This is the file upload part of it. So these are my multiple choice questions. You can edit it and make it look better. Now this is done. Now I'll close this. So this is going to be a basic Google form which you are going to let out. The total score of the quiz shows up over here. It shows 36 at the moment. Now I'm sure that you will be adding questions as and when you want, and make sure it comes to 25. This is just a basic template or a basic guide. Let's check some more settings. I come here to settings and I say general. Now when I send out this form, I also wanted to collect email addresses, so I check mark this. I also want the student to get his response. Like suppose I'm a student and I'm answering the quiz, I need to know what I've answered. So if the respondent requests it, or you can click it on always. Now here I will limit it to one response. Now I am not giving this only to Goa College of Engineering users, it's besides that also, I mean outside that also. So I am removing the tick mark and I'm limiting it to only one response. Now if I am mega@gec.ac.in, that's my email, I can reply only once. I can have only one response. You cannot allow 3 replies coming for the quiz from one email address, because of which you will have to check this off. I don't want a student to edit after he submits or after she submits. So I don't check it off. If I want him to edit, then I have to enable it, but I don't want him to do that, so I disable it. And I don't want the students to see my summary charts and text responses, so I keep it disabled. And once this is done, I say save. Another part of the settings was the presentation. Now suppose I have 25 questions and I want to show a progress bar, like say 25% complete, 50% complete. So I click on this. This is an option to shuffle question order. Now suppose 10 or 50 people are taking your quiz and you have 10 questions. I want to shuffle the order of questions. For example, student 1 should get question 10 first and student 10 should get question 2. So there's a shuffle which is happening between the questions. So I enable this if I want to shuffle the question order. Then this is a confirmation message, that is after the student has submitted his test, he will get a message from me. So that is my custom message. So I will say, hey, we have recorded your IT2 response. Stay home, stay safe. Something like this, and say save. So once I'm done with this and say my quiz is ready, I say send. Now once I say send, alright, I click on this link option. Once I click on the link option, I say shorten URL and I say copy. So once I do that, this link I copy and I paste it in my notepad file or URL or notepad file or any other Word document. I copy this and mail it to myself, and from the mail I'll open it on my phone and WhatsApp it into the students group. So once they click on this link, they are able to open the test. Now for example, let me just copy this and mail it to an account, another account of mine. Let me try doing that. So what after the student finishes submitting responses to your quiz? Now here is an example of a quiz which was designed and there were 42 responses to that quiz. The total marks for that quiz was 25. So how do you know what has happened after the student has answered the quiz? So you just click on responses, alright, and I had closed this because I didn't want them to answer after a specific time. If I click it on, they can still reply to the quiz now. So just to see how many people answered, I get a total count of 42. Here you see you have your responses populated in a sheet. I click on this and this opens up the sheet and it shows me how many students answered. It's in the form of a Google sheet. The sheet will also record the timestamp. It will record the email addresses, the score of the student, and it also records each answer that the student has check marked. Now this email address was the email address of the student which I was collecting in the form, but this form does not have first name, last name, roll number. You want, you can make a provision for it. If you do not want, then you will have to sit and explicitly map it with the student's name and put it. So it would be better if you put the first name or the name and the roll number, so you'll automatically get it populated into this sheet. So if you see, the score directly comes in over here. You do not have to do anything more. If you just hide all these columns of the Google sheet and hide the timestamp along with the email address, name and last name and roll number, you will get the score. Now it may so happen that a student may create a new email address, answer a test at 11:30 after already answering at 11, because I had set one email address only once. But you may be able to catch him because his roll number will repeat and his name will repeat. So if you have duplicate names, so for that you will have to click on the column and you will have to put a conditional formatting of duplicate names. Then you will be able to make out who has answered the test more than once, because his name will get highlighted. So this is the way you can fetch answers for your MCQs. Now what if you had descriptive answers? Now if you had descriptive answers, you would have to go back to your Google form, and here you have under responses summary, question, individual. You click on individual, and you select whichever persons you want. So say for example I select this. Now for descriptive answers, you will have to actually go to that particular answer. Now this quiz of mine does not have a descriptive one, all were MCQs, and you will have to actually go there and edit the score and then say release score. Okay, so once you say release score, you will have to check mark on the email address to whom you want to release the score of, and then say send email and release. But if you had an MCQ, right, you could after a stipulated period of time just say all respondents and release score and say send emails and release. So that way all of them would have got their scores. Now I'm sure my students have all got their scores again because I clicked on it. So please understand that if you choose all of them, they will get their scores released. So this having all the questions as MCQs is better, because once they answer, it auto grades because you have set the answers, and after a period of time, after you have all the responses, you can see over here, you have all the responses here, you just click on this release score, click all the check mark all this and say send emails and release. So all their scores will be released. So this way you can release their scores as well. Also they will also be able to see which is their correct answers. So here this respondent had answered this wrong, so he will get to know that he answered this wrong. He will also get to know that this was correct. So this will be a feedback which he will be able to see in his mail. So you can also now try doing a small Google form this way, mail it in your circle and take the quiz and see whether you can release the score. So with this, I hope we have just got a small gist on how to conduct MCQs and online quizzes using Google Forms. Thank you.